you can start.
Thank you. Good afternoon from Fiji Islands, from the beautiful South Pacific of Fiji, in the Pacific. And today is the first time that any of the Pacific Island countries are taking part in this global initiative against transnational crime online conference that has been organized. And I'm very happy to say that we've got 3 Pacific Islanders who are going to be talking about their own personal work on environmental crimes and its impact on the indigenous populations. So I'm Dr. Natasha Khan from the University of the South Pacific, and I'm going to be moderating this session. So the first speaker will be from Fiji, and the second speaker will be from Vanuatu, and the third speaker will be from PNG. So let me introduce all the 3 speakers, and then I will give the platform to them for the next 45 minutes for speaking. And then once all the speakers will finish speaking, please raise any questions you have. Note them down at the moment, and we will then open it for Q&A. So the first speaker is Mr. Tevita Naika Sowalu from Fiji. Tevita is an Indigenous human rights defender and will speak on the Bar Iron Sands project, which is an offshore black sand mining project near the mouth of Bar River in Fiji Islands. The project is run by Australian company Amex Resources Limited, which is owned by a Chinese company, Waratha International. A special mining lease was granted in 2012 and will expire in 2033. The indigenous population living in the villages near the project have reported several environmental impacts of this project, and he will elaborate a little bit more. Tevita, just wait a few seconds for me to introduce the other speakers. The next speaker will be Mark Wate Patrick, and Marique Wate Patrick. Marique, or Patrick as I call him, was ordered to be the chief of saltwater. Saltwater in Pidgin is for sea, by the paramount chief since 2014. Chief Patrick is responsible for looking after environment and is the coordinator of the implementation of the Erakol Lagoon Restoration Plan. The Erakol Lagoons Restoration Plan is an indigenous community initiative that was started by the tribal chiefs of Erakol, a village in rural area, but close to Port Vila in Vanuatu. Port Vila is the main city of Vanuatu. This plan was started in 2018 as the indigenous chiefs used their customary power to ban fishing in the lagoon due to overfishing in the past. Some of the causes of overfishing were the extraction and sale of sea cucumbers for export to China. Chief Patrick will share the challenges they encountered in terms of implementing this ban due to clashes between custom authorities and the formal government, among other issues. So Chief Patrick will be talking in his indigenous language, and he'll be translated by into English by Eleni. Eleni is from the community in there, and she'll be translating into English for all of us to understand the conversation. The third speaker is from Papua New Guinea. Eugene is an indigenous, Eugene Mondu. Eugene is an indigenous environment human rights defender that works as the forest restoration project director in Wewak, East Sepik of PNG. He will share the challenges in the reforestation of the degraded customary lands due to logging. He will also focus on how the government uses laws, policies, and programs to facilitate logging in PNG, in many times with lack of FPIC, which is free, prior, and informed consent from the customary land owners. Speakers, please make sure that you adhere to the maximum of 15 minutes in your speeches. I give the floor now to Tevita. Thank you very much.
Bulavinaka from the Fiji Islands. Thank you for the introduction, Dr. Natasha. I hope I'm loud enough and clear for you to hear. I would like to share my screen, if that's okay. Do you have that?
It's coming.
Can you see my screen now?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
The title is The Impacts of Black Sand Mining in Mba, Fiji. So to bring that to, I hope that's on your screen now and you're reading it. I'm moving on. Okay, thank you. I'm moving into the Pacific context. And that's the extraction in the Pacific or Oceania region, in as far as it impacts us, where we sit, the chain of islands, we sit along the ring of fire, from New Zealand coming up to Fiji, and then PNG, New Caledonia is there, and Solomon, and cuts across Papua New Guinea, and through to the Indonesia. And from this map, we can see that the Pacific Islands, which three of us are here, is extremely rich in this resource. And this is one of the blessing and also the challenge that we have, because it leads to the topic that we are talking about. And to bring it a little bit further down to Fiji. These are the two main islands in Fiji. One is Viti Levu, which is on the lower left, and Vanuatu on the upper right, which I am from. And you can see these dots, and you can see a line that runs through the center of the top island and the bottom half. And where I am bringing this topic of sand mining, because sand mining happens along the coastal western side of Fiji, which on the main island, Viti Levu, which on the bottom of the screen. And we are focusing on black sand mining in Fiji, which is actually the mining of sand that is black from the mouths of river and foreshore. And we are focusing on Mba, which I'm going to bring in a moment. And it can be done on foreshore or onshore. Black sand is a sand that is black. It has, why it's important? Because it has this material called magnetite. It is magnetic in property, and that's how it's separated. And it's an iron ore that's used for the manufacturing of many iron and metals in many things that we use now, including our phones, airplanes. There are many things that is used for. That's why it's valuable. I'm going to the next slide now. Why is it so destructive and dangerous? On this picture, that is what black sand look like in reality. You can look at it, and this is from a place here in Fiji, from our Viti Levu Bay. This is the first place in Fiji that we have managed to stop black sand mining successfully this year. Why is it destructive and dangerous? Because black sand, this is just in front of a village of Nabunivi. And you can see how beautiful this picture is. It covers the mangroves to the other side. Why it's actually destructive and dangerous, because you see the mining starts actually where the home is, where people live. It's just where people swim, where they get their daily food, and fish. Where you come in to go to, it's the mode of where your transportation route to school. And this is the front entrance to the village where black sand is, where we managed to stop it this year. And why is it destructive and dangerous? Because in this diagram, you see it actually destroys the web of life. In the last picture here, it destroys the web of life between mangrove habitat, the nursery ground, between the shellfish, small fish, worms, crustaceans, with the other small fishes, and of course with the large carnivore. And all of these have direct impact to how we live as human beings. And of course, in these coastal areas, as you know, it affects the family directly. And that's why it is destructive and dangerous. And the other point I want to bring is this. Black sand mining destroy biodiversity? Absolutely. Because I'm going to show you, I'm putting it in a diagram form. It destroys it immediately. Unlike climate change, it takes time to have an impact on the ozone. But when we do this kind of mining, it actually cuts off everything from the foreshore, from the front of your village to your mangroves, and as you can see in this diagram. And I'm going to go into the potential impacts or the impacts that are already happening in the next slide. And those are some of it. Increased coastal erosion, because it's sand moves. If you dig it from a river, it moves. It land subsidence, it leads to flooding. And because you're taking off substance, of course, sand was made there for purpose to protect the force of shore, of waves and wind and water movement. Animal habitat disturbance, it disturbs that, not only the fish, seashells, birds, and of course, the coastal villages. Some of these villages have started falling into the river. Plant habitat disturbance, flood and tide levels, and it also leads to damage of the river and ocean floor. Noise pollution impacting underwater life. It releases toxic materials that are not supposed to be dug up. And of course, it changes the color of water from blue to gray, because the mining happens 24 hours with huge teeth, and it changes the wave height and direction, and change the condition and the climate condition of the water. And this is already happening here in Fiji. And this kind of black sand mining, I think this is the biggest one yet to happen. And let's go to the aerial view. And if you can see there, this is the Bar Delta. You see this green, these are all mangroves. And the river, you can see that it snakes down here and goes down and goes up. Here is where the mining is happening right now. So this greenery you see here, these are all mangroves. And you can see villages along this river. And why this mining is destructive, because it happens directly where people sit. So let's go take a closer look. That is the shoreline from Vanuatu village, and you can see this is the river. And because black sand is from the process of rocks of millions of years from up the river, and it has weathered down until sand, and it has been deposited at the lower mouth of the river and to the foreshore. And you can see here, this is the entrance of the village. I took this picture early this last 2 months to show that it's completely covered with black sand, and that's why these companies are coming into Fiji. Not only Fiji, they are also in the Oceania region, because of the material that's in this sand that's used for manufacturing of metal ores that is used in many equipment that we used. So this is the challenge. And you can see this is where children swim, the women fish for their daily substance, and the mode of transport to school and for all other communities who use this river. And this started in 2019. And that's a picture that I'm sorry if the picture is not clear. That is the separator. And you see where it sits. This is during low tide. You can see that it's from the mouth of the river, and it sits where we human beings interact. And it's very close. It actually sits where the home are. So that is where the sand are separated from these kind of ships. These are the dredging ships. They actually dig out the sand, this huge teeth that crushes everything and transport it through a pipe to this machine here, to this platform where it's separated and loaded onto barges, and the waste You can see the separator there, and you can see the waste material here. The crushed material from after being separated is pumped back into the sea, as you can see now. Debris from the extraction of black sand now as dead waste. And this waste is what, it's not piled like we do mining in the land. It's pumped back as gray waste material into the sea. And this began in 2019. And from 2019, we observed that, you see, along this river, black sand mining impact the socioeconomic dynamics of family, especially women and children, because women are the food gatherers for the family. They wake up in the morning, and also they teach these skills to their young daughters, because these people live by the river. Their main source of income is from the river and the foreshore, like this crabbing here. These crabs can, for a bundle of crab, it can go up to $100 to $150, and they can easily catch this within 1 to 2 hours of crabbing during the tides. And when these kind of projects, it actually disturb and kill and destroy the environment that this lives in, not only the crab, the fish. I see this mother and daughter, they are fishing for their, and this happens daily. And that's why I'm bringing this topic up, because it really hurts not only the environment. When women are not able to put food on the table, it put a lot of stress on family life. When men come back and the children from school, there's a lot of stress. And when they cannot get this in the family, the community starts to move, and you start to get affected, and it affects the whole chain of other things, well-being in the community and how their income, and also it affects the relationship in their different faiths and how they do their tasks and their responsibility as communities in indigenous community. And I'm talking about indigenous community. We have responsibilities to how we live, and fast forwarding. This is this year. I took that picture 2 months ago. It has brought division, disharmony to the community, and you can see, you think this is another island. It is a massive island, and you can see the budget still here, and you can see the delta. This is where, and the villages are on the other side. I'm standing from, these are the heaps of rubbish that was pumped here. In 2 years' time, it has formed island like this. So you see, we never used to have these islands like this before. This was from the pumping of that waste from this that has formed this. And I will have to take you to the next slide for you to actually see. I will play it in a video form.
Victor, please try to wrap up. We've got 1 more minute.
Okay, thank you. My screen is not working, but the PowerPoint is not responding. I'll have to stop there. The point is the amount of destruction to a point that it's unjust. It has a criminal environmental level there, because it affects not only the communities, the environment, and there are little laws. Our laws for mining and for is very limited. It's very limited. So that's why we are bringing up this point, so that our other brothers and sisters in our other Pacific island do not follow this, and we stand up in solidarity to speak up on this impact, because our laws are not yet adequate enough to address the loss and damage, environmental impact, let alone what we can give back to these communities when they are affected. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tevita. Apologies for stopping you a little bit earlier than you wanted to, but we have to adhere to this time. Thank you very much. Will please hold on. And if you've got any questions for Tevita, I've already noted some. Please hold on to these questions and we'll come back to a Q&A session for that. Patrick, could you want to continue, please? Please note again that you've got 15 minutes.
Chief Monte Patrick, I come from Council of Chief of Airport. We look out on the side of the environment. More the side of physics for environment.
Good morning. His name is Patrick Walter, and he's the chief that take care or is overseeing the environment and the fisheries, working alongside with the airport ship.
Nilai tulo mereka tu lagun seperti itu lah, tu lagi satu opposite lo town ini di capital, lo Fatih. Misalnya si Fatih di main. Source di capital, musim tayo every mana ilan, mo speed lo bisa, mo live lo bisa, mo especially all ini kat to tulang lagu dia tu kat development mo di kapan problem, especially kat hospital ini, we kita item when na sewage hospital, ikan lo suara, after
Yes, airport lagoons is linked to the sea or the ocean. We have two lagoons, and we are located in a pathway close to Port Pilar, which is the capital city of Vanuatu, and we are here to talk about the problems that we have with these two lagoons. We have hotels have built, people have moved in to build their own to live there. And we have residents so that they come here to work, and from those developments, we have pollution in the sea because of this development that has been taking place. And also the hospital that we have the septic not that is not working, and it's open. That is the cause of the pollution that is in our lagoon these days, that cause, like the other colleague has mentioned, that affect the life of the citizens. That is affecting the environment as well.
Yes, los lagoon yan mo, make it situlay. Anyone lagoon way by UNICEF item one place lo Vanuatu. Limito mo imigat no case with the second lagoon, with them population growth, we can see any one way of what development will go, especially allows no white man will be pass los with them hotels, mo two may narrowness los hospital private, we target them something play become los sewage flare. So now kalau pesulura ini nomor semester mau
Okay, with what has been said about the residential and the people have moved into Port Pilar to settle or to do their living here. Now it has changed a lot of the colors of the sea. At first it was like nice and green and blue, but now because of these buildings and all these developments and infrastructure going on, it has changed a lot the color of the sea. Now it's not longer green or blue, but it's becoming brown or black because of the pollution that has been poured into the sea.
Yes, after I got all mangrove too, possibly binaran kata Fiji, all mangrove too di kat-katem, mo liponen lo site lo semua. What people actually when the ground or the important to.
With the mangroves, there has been growing along the seashore that has been keeping the fish safe, and they've been providing a food home for the fishes. They have been cut off by people, or they've been because of the pollution that is coming out from these buildings that have been mentioned. It caused the life of these mackerels, and also the fish are dying because of what the people are doing to the ocean.
After kata side lo climate change too, ini change plan something, especially of time place yacht El Nino, La Niña, time we seluruh ikaran somatika, lalu ikota seluruh, make some fish holiday or sting with them on too.
And due to the climate change that is happening now, not just in Vanuatu, but around, like it's a global I think when we have a lot of El Nino, and the sea is very hot, that causes the fish to die. And also when there's a lot of rain and El Nina, the mud from the land that flows to the sea, it causes the fish to die because it's a dirt. Like when the fish suck, they die. So it's something that is really destroying the sea.
Then Mr. Trump will come up all project ini, especially like one management plan we start. Say first one di one si cleaning, second one ini stop him, another one in restore.
Okay. The plan that has been put to work on is to stop this pollution. To stop this pollution, for people not to put the waste into the sea, and to restore what they've been doing to pollute the ocean. The restoration plan is in progress.
Now ya, ini kata tulo department lo kota, wal kata tuli kan lo di tespen seluruh ini, boy lo kata lo boy kata sano tipikal manti lo sano pastikan seperti Australia, New Zealand, wal ikam lo di tespen si seluruh ini di punte, mau di final bakter wisata seven di 10 times.
And we're now working with the expert that they know about the water, and we have some people traveling from overseas to help with them to see what we can do, because they found out that it's very polluted. Like a lot of pollution has been put into the ocean. So now they're working closely with the airport chief and this expert are traveling overseas to find a way to restore back the sea.
Yes, with them all work ini tim ini pun juga kita sekitar kalau ini tim lo government tu ini kan belum sampai album ini lo site lo one way ini tim belum megang put lo tomorrow lo begini ini. So mulai trend lo tema Minister of Climate Change, especially around when we go to China, the one who control the element more hopefully bangli wo ketenan wo tem one task force we by me tumbakan lo mulai trend lo wopot lo to lagune.
And now we are working closely with the Minister of Climate Change, South Vanuatu, to stop what is happening now, but to make a better place for the people. And we are looking forward to make it we are looking forward to we are working together, putting our hands together to stop this pollution.
After we modern encouragement ini demo we milih floral lagun, mesti we kata harus to lagun ini kata samuli all pools ko kata sumur only tayo mo pay mo katapi kami semua. So we need to be file from we need to that one task force where Mr. by the side of government by the Mongolia hopefully work closely. We try to make them say so what we he come back for service time where what we create them we can be more usually say what is something we mistake this we minority we need to be like seperti kan itu benar mau generation ini betul.
And we are now working together, as we said, to make sure that we bring back the color of the ocean as it was before, the way it has been created by the God. And we are working together to stop this. And in order to stop this, we are encouraging people that are building houses near the coast to put the waste into a proper place, but not into the ocean. And this is how we're gonna stop this pollution. You put your waste into a proper place instead of the ocean. For the future or the generations that are gonna use the same lagoons that we are using.
With them pollution we start, man of television 10 times bacteria.
So with what the WHO has reported is a 10 times bacteria or it's a 10 times polluted.
Inukut lo swim, inukut lo Taiwan, inukut lo kakay fish, inukut lo kakay cell.
And it's not healthy for people to go in for picnic, to swim, and for people to get fish or fishing, to eat fish or shells or anything that's coming out from the ocean.
Government ikutuan ban start for 4 years.
And the government has put a plan 4 years on these 2 lagoons.
And they got enforcement going to start.
That's also as its enforcement for people not to use the lagoon.
So you look forward to really try to really work close government, really in government, really in NGO, we should work close with the people.
And we need the help of the government and also the NGOs to work closely with us to stop this pollution.
Mo tu ini kata siku kambatu.
We also have this thing that they've been collecting sea cucumbers and it's not helping the sand as well that is providing a good environment for not only for the people but for the creatures that are living in the sea.
Siku kambatu ini plant work. Lo semua ini, and no filtrem semua ini, we immunity lo ini stopper cells lo sel siku kambatu start, lo ini trem lo make impact, environment we make impact, especially semua ini.
And we are trying to stop this negotiation that people are buying the sea cucumbers because we need to restore this sea, or we need to restore our ocean or these 2 lagoons for the better tomorrow.
After we look forward to, we team help the government playing civil development 2 place outside of government tomorrow, become conservation for generation tomorrow.
And we are asking the government to help us as locals to create 2 conservation area for a better future for the kids that are going to use the same lagoon.
Mau look forward to lo government yang sering ini quick to lo hospital ini lo ikutum sewage plant lo kubak lo underground.
And we are looking forward for the government to respond quickly to build a good place a good place for the waste to store it under the ground, but not into the lagoon.
So, na nilulay yung photo, nilulay ka to last TOC Westa, nilulay din from through foyes we kapani itu, and we through all victim we imino with flap di mi sa mo ron laka sa mo pinini only victim le.
Because what is happening now with the hospital, many people are victim of what is happening now with what the hospital is putting into the ocean.
From
Chief, my apologies, Chief Patrick.
yes.
My apologies, and Chief Patrick and Eleni, if you can just wrap up everything in a minute, it'd be really appreciated. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we need to allow the next speaker to go on. Thank you.
After we look forward to from any custom life living statusora. Through plan delivery, we walk, plan delivery, we the kind of snowra, in salad fish, in salad, the water pollution we start, we can say planter is a time go dimensional and later and blow. Bring them up, thinking up, we try and work together, no one better future, no tomorrow. Thank you.
It costs a lot of lives because as islanders, we depend a lot on the sea. Like we live like our livelihood is depend on the sea. We get shell, we get fish. If we don't have jobs, that's where we get our food. So we are appealing. We put our appeal to government to do this to solve this issue quickly.
I think Natasha, I think
Yes.
That's all we want to share with you. That's the problem that we have here in Vanuatu, and we thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Chief Patrick and Eleni. You did a wonderful job, and especially particularly you, two of the speakers, because of translation, managed to still cover a lot in that short period of time. Thank you very much. Thank you, Thomas. Now we will go to our colleague, Eugene from Papua New Guinea. Eugene, you are now, can you please start your video as well, if you are able to?
Thank you, Natasha. Thank you for having me. Okay, so I'll be speaking about the reforestation project that we are doing in a province in PNG. It's called Isipik, and also talk about the government of PNG and the roles that it plays in facilitating the logging in the country through the laws and policies and the programs that it offers. So first, I'll be talking about the reforestation project that we have. So the reforestation project that we are doing, it covers the degraded customary land in PNG. So the land has been degraded through logging, and there are several challenges that including environmental, social, and economic factors that are faced in this project that we are currently undergoing. So the challenges, it vary in intensity, and also it depends on the location and the circumstances that we are faced with. So, but here are some common issues that are faced in the project. So the first one is deforestation and land degradation. So logging activities often result in extensive deforestation and degradation of land. So this includes soil erosion and this include, I'm sorry, these include soil erosion, loss of biodiversity, and disruption of local ecosystems. So it makes it difficult to reestablish like LT forest. And also in terms of biological aspects, it includes the invasive species and weeds, like after logging, invasive plants, species, they colonize the area and making it difficult for native trees to regenerate and grow. And also the land tenure and ownership, like in PNG, the land is owned by the customary landowners. So through the logging, they establish the ILGs, the incorporated land groups. So the land now is being registered through the ILG process. So once the logging company registered the land under the ILG process, they take ownership of the land. So the landowners are losing the land without knowing that. So when we go through the process of doing the reforestation project, we encounter this problem as well, because the land is not owned by them. So if we are doing reforestation, then it's a huge challenge that anytime they might come back and log the place because it's already in their ownership. I mean, the land is already at the hands of in the hands of the company. So this is one of the biggest challenges that we are faced with, the land tenure and ownership, and also the financial resources that there are. We don't have enough financial backing to carry the project out, because we have to also do like surveys, and then we'll proceed into doing land, not land registration, but signing the conservation deeds, or formulating the conservation deeds, and it requires like surveys and all of that stuff that come with it. It's a bit costly in this exercise as well, and also technical knowledge. We need more technical knowledge in this area as well. Access to markets. Some of the woods that will be doing nursery, it's we are planning to sell them, but we don't have access to markets yet. So some will be going towards doing the reforestation, and the others will be going towards helping the economic aspects of the people in the community that are doing the reforestation. So that is one of the challenge, access to markets, and also climate variability and change. Climate condition like the soil surface, the difference in the temperature and the climate, I mean the vegetation as well. It is it has been a big challenge in that area as well. Illegal logging and land encroachment, like even after reforestation efforts have begun, illegal logging or land encroachment by third parties can pose a significant challenge, as encroachment can be difficult in remote areas. The other one is land use competition. In some cases, that they may be competing interests for use of customary lands such as agriculture, which can hinder the reforestation efforts as well. So one of the biggest issue on that area, the land use competition, is now they are trying to establish the special economic zone. So special economic zone is one of the major challenge to us in the project as well at the moment. So addressing these key challenges in reforestation efforts in PNG requires a multifaceted approach that involves collaboration with local communities and government agencies, NGOs, and other stakeholders. So it is essential to respect the rights and needs of the landowners while promoting sustainable and environmental friendly approach. So I'll be giving the key points. So the key points are the major challenges that we are faced with in this project logging activities, invasive species and weeds, and land tenure and ownership complexities, insufficient financial resources for restoration, and lack of technical knowledge, limited access to markets for reforestation products, and climate variability and traditional practices pose challenges. So this is the first part of my presentation about the reforestation project that we are doing. Now I'll be moving on to the government law, the government of PNG and how it played a significant role in facilitating logging in the country through laws, policies, and programs. Most of these often lack the free, prior, and informed consent from the customary landowners. So here are some key ways in which this has been okayed. So first one is the forest management legislation. PNG has had legislation in place that governs the logging industry, such as the Forestry Act. So while these laws are designed to regulate activities and promote sustainable forest management, they have been concerns about how they have been implemented. So in some cases, the enforcement of regulations may be lax, so allowing for and also it allows for unsustainable logging practices. So, and the other one is the Special Agriculture Business List, SABL. So that SABL, we've taken the matter to the Supreme Court, and the judges already made the decision that the SABL is illegal and it should not be implemented at all. But now they are still using it, but not the SABL. They are using the FCA. It's called Forest Clearance Authority. Forest Clearance Authority, FCA. So FCA has been a major, it has played a major role in facilitating the logging activities at the moment now. So the other one is land dispute resolution mechanism. It's the other way that the government facilitate logging in the country. The government's land dispute resolution mechanisms have sometimes favored logging companies, leaving the customary landowners at a disadvantage when dispute arises over land use and logging activities. And also failure to enforce FPIC, the free, prior and informed consent. However, there have been instances in which the government has failed to effectively enforce the FPIC and logging activities. So that allows the companies to operate without the free, prior, and informed consent of the affected communities. And there's been also lack of transparency. So the transparency in the allocation of logging concession and financial arrangements between the government and the logging companies has been a concern. Lack of transparency that leads to corruption and unfair deals. So that has happened with the customary landowners often not receiving a fair share of the benefits. And one of the major one is the weak monitoring and enforcement. So even when laws and regulation exist to govern logging activities, the enforcement and the monitoring of these regulations have been inconsistent. So yeah, it has been inconsistent. So this lead to illegal logging and environmental degradation and abuse of land rights. Also the political and economic interest, the political and economic interest also influence the government policies and decisions relating to logging. So efforts to address these issues typically involve advocating for better governance, more transparent process, stronger enforcement of existing laws, and the inclusion of customary landowners in the decision making. So the NGOs and the civil society organization and international bodies, they have been instrumental in raising awareness about these challenges in PNG so far. So they are very vocal about these issues. So I realized I have 5 minutes, so I'll just
No,
summarize.
Eugene, you actually had 5 minutes a while. You just have another 2 minutes, please, if you can adhere to the time.
All right. So
Thank you.
just the recommendation. Okay, to address these challenges and protect indigenous population in PNG, it is recommended to strengthen and enforce environmental laws, implement FPIC, and prioritize the rights, the indigenous rights, and enhance transparency and land tenure reform. So, but one of the biggest thing that we need to do in PNG is to have a legal body in the at the national level that can represent us to take all our matters and respond timely to those environmental issues that we are faced with at the in the village level that we are working at. So this is one of the recommendations that I want to make, that it must be addressed and somehow implemented so that we can have all of our issues, all of our problems relating to environmental crimes can be addressed effectively and timely. Thank you so much, Natasha.
Thank you, Eugene. Again, thank you, Tevita and Chief Patrick as well. Because we are going to be running out of time very soon, and I think we've got less than 15 minutes for Q&A, I'll just open immediately for the floor. If anybody has got a question, we can start. Please do turn on your audio and video for questions if you have any. Thank you.
The participants can't use the audio and video, but they can write their questions
in the chat.
Okay. If there is a question, we can open the mic. If the person raises their hand, I can do that if you wish.
Let's allow some time for them to do that. While we're waiting for the participants to ask some questions, I've got a few questions of myself. So all of you mentioned that there's a projects that, of course, I've got a number of different stakeholders. If any of you are interested to bring that up, which stakeholders in particular, in your own particular different cases, were supportive of your case, and which ones became like obstacles? Were they private companies or government or community members themselves? And, how did you handle that? This is to all three speakers.
All right, so
yes, Eugene.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. For us, the provincial government has been the major supporter of our program, and they have made an initial funding that supported the program of the forest restoration, the forest restoration, and they are also now behind us, the Department of Environment, Climate Change and Conservation in the province. We are working directly with them at the moment. So they are supportive of the program that we are undertaking. The ones that are going against the project mainly are the people who are in the company. They are part of the logging companies that lived in the village, and also the ones that who are working with them that influences the people in the village, and they are now against us. So not really in a way that they are trying to stop the project, but they are sort of encouraging the people not to take part in the project because it will be a waste of time. That the land is already with the company; they have the land title already. Yeah, so this is what we are doing with the influence of our stakeholders at the moment.
Thank you, Eugene. So and again, you mentioned earlier about number of other departments that were actually also creating obstacles on your way as well. So this is interesting that both from different government departments could be very helpful. Some departments and some were creating obstacle. We've got a question from Rosa, which says, addressed to Tevita. Can you share a bit more about Fijian policies and regulations on black sand mining? She's from PNG, and PNG is also considering black sand mining in future. Tevita.
Yes, I think on mining, we have a review for the Mining Act for 2005, just beginning last year. Our Mining Act has been very old in the sense that it has not tackled the human right-based approach to look at the injustices, not only to the environment, but how it affects women, how it affects children, the right to life, right to health, right to clean environment. Those have not been there. And just in the change of the new government, we are starting to bring all this from a human right-based approach. And I think in our countries, we have to be very vocal. It begins with at local level. Our duty is to inform and educate and make awareness to our own local villages, because these were not there. That was one of the challenges, the FPIC, free, prior, informed consent, the right to know what affects you. You have the right to say. That is one of the biggest challenges that we have. And we have to inform also the impacts. Most of the projects that come, they only say amount of money that can be shared and what can, in terms of the monetary, but what the risks and impacts, that was not so clear. And that is yet to be fully realized, and we're working with other NGOs from here in Fiji, in Australia, and with the churches. The churches have a very big impact because churches are across these communities, and it needs a collaboration and solidarity in order for us to be able to change the mindset, and not only that, to impact the laws of our relevant government.
Thank you, Tevita. And again, Ed, I would like to add again, I am from Fiji as well. I think one of the things that Tevita mentioned was environmental impact assessment that is also done in Fiji. However, the process itself has been problematic. And in the past, I think we've been in the environment workshops before, Tevita and I, where we discovered that if a villager wants to go to the environment department and get one of those impact assessment reports, they have to pay $5 Fijian for a page for printing. And many people cannot afford to have 200, 400 pages printed. They're not allowed to have a soft copy. They're not allowed to take out a copy without printing out of the office. So it seems quite small, but it becomes a hurdle for a villager to come out to the village, to the center, 4 hours away from their home, and then to find that there's obstacles for them to get access to it. Chief Patrick, before we go to you, there's been a question from Virginia, who's the head of the Pacific program of GI-TOC. In what ways, she's asking, what ways could international NGOs better support your work? What interventions are most needed? Thank you.
Yes, los hay dos people, los hay dos government at the department of water, and we've been help lo banem find water bacteria waste inside. With them, the side of environment, you work with the people there, you mean those side of health, or you don't come up with the minimum, or you don't come to the RM crime to the community, Big something to Sonora Blimi when we put it in start, and we to one when we cost when we switch hospital we start nine.
Yeah, to answer the first question that you asked, the government has come a lot to help stop the pollution with the two lagoons. But with the hospital situation, they haven't been so helpful to stop what they're doing with the lagoon. So we asking them to help to put their hands together with the people, the chief, to remove what they're doing right now, so that everybody can be healthy and can use the lagoon again.
Then we really need him help. We really need him help, especially government.
Chief Patrick, is there any way NGOs, international NGOs like GI-TOC would be able to help?
Yes.
In what ways?
We need to project one in the stop pollution, second one in the cleaning, number 3 in the restore.
We are asking for the help of NGOs to help with us as locals to clean this pollution and to restore the lagoon.
Also want to NGO berarti kan saya kalau sampai help lo from the side of finance, lo ini tran lo ini pakai mapol tinggi wisata, from ini dikelawok yang minus semua, dikelawok lo making it. Thank you.
We are asking for help in financially, because we know that it's not a small thing to do. It's a big job. It's a big work to restore these lagoons. So
thank you, Eleni.
If you could help with finance.
Thank you, Eleni. Tevita and Eugene, very quickly, 1 minute each, please. To Virginia's question.
In terms of international NGO, raising up our collaboration and sharing the stories, and of course, we can also ask in line with the climate finance and loss and damage, if that can be access to justice, and not only justice, if we can have a grassroots access to these economic remedies that are made available, so that the grassroots can actually, and we here to help facilitate, because that is a very big way in helping. If the government can streamline that and make it accessible, because I think that global funding is there for COPs, but we only hearing it. If we can have that, that will be a very big help.
Thank you, Vita. Eugene, please.
In terms of the global community and the international NGO support to what we are doing, mostly our work requires like your finances. So we need lot of, not a lot of, but at least an adequate backing of the finance, as well as helping us to amplify our work to reach the global scale, at least to make a big awareness of our work. Yeah.
Thank you very much. If I can take a liberty of answering one way of help that international NGO, especially GI-TOC, could be involved in is training at the ground on FPIC, because I think there's a very misunderstood concept within the Pacific, particularly doing trainings in indigenous languages so that they actually understand. Many of the interior rural areas where mining and all this industry that takes place, the populations are not very educated, and when FPIC happens, when the English is used as a process, a language they're not very familiar with. Again, in the process of FPIC, we've had many stories in the past where businesses have gone and divided the community by getting consent of one or two major chiefs through providing them with substantial gifts like a four-wheel drive cars and so on. So they've divided communities within indigenous communities and managed to get consent from one particular party who is sort of the stronger and bigger party, whereas other parts of the community do not agree with that. And that is also really problematic, but there needs to be more training from the community up on these issues, on how to look at environment impact assessment reports and how to use this as a powerful tool, because like Tevita was saying, it's not very clear to many communities what is this adverse impact, because they're told about the financial benefits. This is a short term, like 10, 15 years, what are you going to get the money, how to invest that money, how to use that money, what kind of damages that happens to the environment, that kind of gets neglected. Sorry to take so much of time. Anna, do we still have time enough for Patrick to have a short comment?
Yes, you have 9 minutes.
Okay, right. So last 2 minutes each, if to all three speakers, please. And if anybody else wants to have a question.
I think to the organizers, thank you for allowing us to use this platform. It's indeed useful and very helpful to bring the Pacific Oceania voice together at this platform. It will be good if this kind of platform are more known locally, so that more are involved locally at this international platform. So, and we can also encourage and strengthen the local networks that we already have, like academia, our scientists, and in that way we have a more solidarity in our local resilience, building that up. And of course, yes, funding is an issue always in all these things. And if this can be one of the points that can be taken up to whoever is able to help in terms of bringing justice work and peace to our senior region. Thank you.
Thank you, Tevita. Chief Patrick.
Nicola, for tuplo, sposa, el plumicula que me van sposa from community ni 15 minutes pula lagun siya. Planta milo walk. After community some project lo mi stand-up lo leria lo isang help mo katatu. Lo communities especially olor la kasi mo pinili modeling some project or some bisa dikata saya lo agriculture saya lo livestock saya lo fishing boat related din lo posikan some project bisa dikata dalam kata kulino kai you stop lo 4 years then stop kai project lo open source one I think
Yes, because the people from the village and people that are coming in from the other islands, they are affected by these lagoons. We are asking if we can have other subjects like farming or livestock, just to help the people not just to get the food or to be affected by what is happening with these two lagoons, but they also have food from other sites. From other projects like livestock and
Thank you too much, Chief Patrick. I need to stop you there. I'm sorry. Let's give Eugene chance as well to speak. Thank you, Eugene.
Thank you so much. So, yep. Thank you for giving us this platform to allow us to air the work that we are doing. But from the level that we are at right now, we need a good support from the top down to what we are doing at the moment. Most of the times, like we go into the villages and communities when we are doing our work. Most of the work that we do and then the stories that comes with it, it doesn't reach the higher level that it should. So I just want to make a comment here that can we have a sort of a platform or a pathway that can help us to like get all of the issues that we are faced with and the work that we are doing to like sort of reaching the higher level that it should. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Anyone else has a last question before we wrap up? Thank you.
There is a question in the Q&A. Do you see it?
Yes, there's a question that I've just answered. So the question is, do most constituents in PNG and Fiji have to pay for the the environmental impact assessment reports? For Fiji, yes, like I said earlier, you have to pay to have so they have a hard copy within the Environment Office. They're not allowed to give you the hard copy. They can allow you to give the hard copy to sit within the office to go through it. Usually the reports are 200 pages and more, and you can't go through it in a few hours. So people want to have a copy to take it back and also share with other stakeholders in the village. Unfortunately, they are not allowed to do that. They have to get a photocopied version, which costs, we calculated for one of the reports that was available, it was like 400 Fijian dollars, which is US 200. And again, soft copy was not allowed to be emailed in this day and age. I don't know why, what's the rationale for that, but these are some obstacles that, it becomes problematic for people to get access to information. For PNG, Eugene, do you know anything about the environmental impact assessment reports and the accessibility?
For PNG, in the case of the vlogging that I am actively involved in, there were no environmental impact assessment done at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we don't know whether they have one or not, but I did not hear of any of the environmental impact assessment done by the logging company. And in other areas, in terms of Frida, that recently they have released a statement asking the company to release the environmental impact assessment, but they have released it, but it's not full. Like the dam break analysis of the environmental impact assessment was not incorporated in the environmental impact assessment. Yeah. So it's really hard also to get the environmental impact assessment in PNG. Sometimes they will give you the EIS, but it won't like come in full. Yeah.
In Fiji, by law, any major project that involves environment has to have an impact assessment done. However, having said that, we had a big major project that came under a lot of scrutiny when our government changed early this year, and it was finally halted because apparently no impact assessment was done, and they had already started the project of clearing the mangroves. And it was finally halted because with the change of government, we were allowed to question that a lot more aggressively. I am going to stop here before Anna stops us. Thank you very much. And really enjoyed this session. And I hope that we, just like Tevita and others said, we hope that we get to have this international platform for the Pacific Islanders again sometime in future. Yes, Tevita, did you want to say something?
Before you go, I think to our friends, Marik and Eugene, we are part of the Pacific Human Rights Defenders Network. It'll be a good way of joining us together and putting all our issues. And you can contact Natasha for that. And in that way, we collaborate as a region. We are already in it, myself, Natasha, the Pacific Human Rights Defenders Network, and it really takes up a business and human rights based approach on how it's this thing can be addressed. I recommend that you contact Natasha for this, so that we can join this movement that we are already here together in Fiji with other of our Pacific Islanders.
Thank you, Tevita. Yes, please do that.